It's the report everyone's been waiting for, and the results are in. The year-end Canadian UFO report has been released. What's in it? Are we alone? That's what we're going to discuss here with Lee Kunla, a political science professor at Humber Polytechnic. He co-hosts the Uncover Up podcast, which you should check out if you would like. I like it. I've been on it, or haven't been on it. Or
You're coming on it. Segments of your stuff have been on it, and then we're going to invite you on it, and you're going to be our conspiracy.
Love it. Okay, this report's a bombshell. If you look at the guy whose name is on the report, you can contact him, and he's got a Hotmail email address, so you know the report is legit.
I saw that too. I love that.
Yeah. I feel like if I were trying to treat ufology,
Yeah, it's a good question. I think originally it was pronounced ufology.
If I was trying to treat that as a scholarly science, which it is, I mean, these reports, they do their research, I probably wouldn't put a Hotmail address on it.
Yeah, no, I love it. We were just talking before we went on air about like these conspiracy whistleblowers, and I feel like a Hotmail address, preferably one that doesn't have your name, has got to be part and parcel of that kind of character, no?
So the number of sightings, no joke, 26,000 UFO sightings have been reported in Canada for the last 36 years. That is a large number of objects, but many of them have a plausible explanation, right? At least most of them.
Yeah. So you're right first that it's a big number. And then just last year, 2025, it was over 1,000. It was like 1,050 who just reported last year seeing a UFO. So you're right also that most of them, when they have been analyzed, we've been able to come up with pretty mundane explanations. And so there's actually, it's kind of cool if you look at where most good UFO sightings happen. They tend to happen in places where you don't have a lot of other visual clues and context to help you understand what's going on. So imagine the nighttime on the Atlantic Ocean. You know, you just there's nothing really to distinguish what is in the foreground, what's in the background. And so then it's also hard to judge if something is moving fast or not. So often we'll get really good UFO reports where a number of people have seen something quite incredible. And then when there's been enough information to look into it, it'll be something like the squid lights on a Japanese fishing boat. You know, where they kind of shine these super bright lights into the water, but on the way into shining it into the water, they might cast light into the sky, and then you see these amazing lights going back and forth. So that's just one example of the kind of thing that a lot of UFO sightings boil down to. It's like, oh, there's this mundane thing.
Weather balloons, airplanes with lights on them that get misperceived by the people seeing them. I mean, there's a lot of plausible explanations.
For sure. Of course, also military tech. Now, there was a CIA historian who in the 1990s, he took a look at the false positive UFO sightings between the 50s and 60s and came up with something like 50% of them were UFO tech that was at that point secret. Sorry, not UFO tech. Oh, my goodness. Sorry. Military tech that was at that point secret. When people though nonetheless saw it, they were really surprised by it, right?
So like the B-2 bomber, or what was the one before the B-2 bomber?
Well, there's the U-2, which was the super high. It wasn't a bomber. It was a reconnaissance airplane. It flew super high. People didn't know about it. And the earliest versions would reflect sunlight off of it. So it was a UFO generator. But then there's this 3% in the report. And it's this kind of kernel of good sightings seen by lots of people that remain unexplained. And that's where the action is.
That's where Mulder and Scully live.
Exactly.
I was just watching Gillian Anderson in an interview. How has she aged so well? I don't know.
Yeah, I just actually looked her up too because I was like, what's happening with Gillian Anderson these days? I was like, wow.
She's in a lot of great shows, but she is 57 years old and she is stunning. Amazing. Okay, I'm getting totally off the mark here. 3% of unexplained UFOs. Can we categorize them at all? What are people mostly saying in that unexplained group?
Well, There are, yes. So the short answer is yes, we can categorize them, and people are seeing different things. But these will be things like your audience, I'm sure, will have seen the UAP videos that were shot by some of the F-18 Navy fighter jets. These are like, here's like video image of an object that is moving in ways that one of the pilots said, our material science cannot explain or recreate this. And then you're like, this is a lot of people who are seeing this thing moving in completely bizarre ways. Well, it's an example of the kind of thing that is part of this 3%, where these are like good sightings. Now, in terms of like, is it that people are seeing, there is quite a lot of variety. So in terms of shape, it's interesting that you don't get the classic saucer shape. You get cigars, you get lights, you get points, stuff like that. People tend to be seeing that kind of stuff.
And there's really no trend around color. Like I'm looking at the color breakdown. Most of them are white, but then the different colors, it's all kind of evenly distributed.
Exactly. Multicolored is like the next one. Under white is basically 50%. Multicolored is like 15%. And then everything else, black, silver, orange, whatever, is all like between 3 and 5%.
What kinds of people are making these reports? Are they hippies who have done a bunch of illegal substances out in the woods with their Birkenstocks and their hemp pants and all this, playing devil sticks and hacky sack?
Well,
or is it fighter pilots or regular commercial pilots who are of sound mind, at least enough to fly an aircraft?
Yeah, well, so you're right to put it that way, because I think when those of us not interested or following UFOs, when we hear about sightings, I think we think of one of those two categories, which is not the airplane pilots, but the hippies. And so reports like this, we've had a lot of evidence of this throughout the years. They take pains to really demonstrate that, no, it's like police officers, teachers, it's daytime, it's airline pilots, military professionals, radar operators, and often the best ones are all these people together.
Now, one of the metrics in this report is the strangeness of the incident. What does that mean?
Well, it's a good metric because in a sense, it's like, again, some of it is just kind of, it is a UFO to the observer, but it's not necessarily a UFO to everybody else. So the strangeness is like how unexplainable it is.
Ooh, I like it. All right, we're here with Lee Kuhnla, a political science professor at Humber Polytechnic. It is Conspiracy Corner, in case that wasn't clear. We are discussing the newly released Canadian UFO report and what is in it. We're drilling into that 3% of unexplainable sightings. Who's seeing them? What are they seeing? And we come back. And when we come back, have you seen a UFO? And by you, I mean you, listener, but also you, Lee, because at the commercial break, you told me you've seen a UFO, which is wild to me because I consider you to be someone of very sound, rational mind. We'll be back to discuss this report in a moment.